Доброго времени суток, дорогие зрители моего канала. Меня зовут Веритас, и мы продолжаем проходить Enderal. В этой серии мы будем немножко поближе знакомиться с Джаспаром. Он ждет нас где-то тут. Вот ты где.
I will. Take care. Hey, you came. Come on, take a seat. So, tell me, how are you holding up? It must have been quite the whirlwind. Yesterday, a refugee from another country, and now a prodigy with a magic great enough to impress old Bushybeard. Well, that's good to hear. I'm quite curious to see how things keep on with you. You're different. I noticed that the time we met. Anyhow, tell me, what do you make of this country now that you've had some time to look around? I figure it must be quite the change from Nerem. Shoot. Yeah, I can picture that. You know, this is exactly the reason why I love inns so much. The sky can rain fire out there. In here, you'll always meet laughter and good humor. Not to mention all the good-looking men and women. Absolutely. Though I think I've seen enough of this place by now. Of Enderal, I mean. There's a ship sailing for Calais next morning, and as it seems, it will be the last one for quite some time to come. Who knows? Maybe they still have a cabin to spare for a handsome treasure hunter. Oh well. This entire thing was more a coincidence than planned anyhow. The Order needed someone with skill and discretion. I was around. End of story. I never intended to stick around for much longer. Heck, me as an ambassador of the Holy Order, could you imagine that? Not one step further, O fair maiden. Drop your garment so we may both bathe in Malphas's holy light. Actually not that bad, don't you think? Oh, you're too kind. But you know, at the end of the day, I guess I'd probably lack both the pathos and the idealism for such a profession. You know, I'm aware of how these esteemed keepers up there talk about sellswords like me. I could save 30 virgins from a Myrodon rampage. At the end of the day, they'd always say I did it for the money, because I wanted to bed the women, or whatever. I'm driven by inferior motives. While no matter what their actions end in, they are good guys, because they do things for the right reasons. If only they'd understand that it's results that matter, not intentions. What does the wise hermit say? Nothing is of less importance to the saved than the reason for their rescue. The only difference between a mercenary like me and a holy warden is that I'm at least aware of the fact that I do what I do for myself, and no one else. I'm trying to say that all those heroes and self-declared messiahs are no better than everyone else. In the end, we are all selfish, because we always act in accordance to what we think we have to be like. So yes, maybe the keeper saves the farmer from the bandits. But at the end of the day, he does it because he sees himself in a certain light. You know, the funny thing is that a lot of times, it's especially those who think of themselves driven by a higher purpose who are the really dangerous ones. They don't understand what drives them, and that makes them easy to manipulate. The only thing left to do for the capable hate-monger or tyrant is to somehow combine his own ambitions with the mental image of this person. And presto, you've got your perfect puppet, only waiting to dive into the next hail of arrows for their honor, their religion, or whatever they thought of this time. It's just so idiotic, you know? The world would be a much better place if everyone could just acknowledge that the only reason we're here is that we want to be happy.
Есть еще варианты?
You do. And here I thought I'd get an indignant cry and a splash of wine thrown in my face. That's how most people react. In any case, I think I'll take my leave now. I very much enjoyed our talk, but the ship to Calais leaves before the first cocks crow tomorrow, and I want some more time to think about it. Well, it most recently gained a good-looking Armese man. Maybe that'll make up for when I leave. Keep your chin up.
Абсолютно не геи.
Mead, stew, roast pork. Anyone?
Просто
Huh?
два
Can I help you?
мужика делают друг другу комплименты. Ничего гейского в этом нет. Ну давайте пойдем по основному
Ой.
квесту, раз уж на то пошло.
Don't look at me like that. Walk blessed. For trouble,
Мне нужна башня Мирада. В принципе, любая. Что-то я туплю. А. Башня Мирада у нас. Вот он тут сидит. Я это помню. Просто я еще не совсем ориентируюсь в этом городе. Он реально большой.
Yes?
Мне нужно в Северное Сердцеземье.
Walk blessed, friend. Where are you headed? How about pirates? What is there to tell? They're beautiful animals, majestic and wild, and dangerous if you're unlucky enough to run into an untamed one. In the time before the Blood Moon Revolt, a long time ago, tame pirates like this
По-моему,
one
он
here
нам
was a
уже это
really rare
говорил.
sight. Nowadays, though, they're pretty common, at least here in Enderal. Pity, somehow. Oh,
Да, я помню,
that's
он
hard to
рассказывал про то,
explain.
что
They
он хотел
communicate
бы,
by clicking sounds.
что во времена
I, as a
его деда
warrior,
его
am
профессия
afraid to
была
hear,
очень
but you
престижной.
probably can't. And through those clicking sounds, I also tell them where you want to go before you mount them. Obviously, that only works for routes that. Nowadays, well, you. Oh, well, and through those clicking sounds,
Ну,
I
поехали.
Also, sure, where to?
Они на самом деле на этих притонов похожи. Только притоны злые, что звездец. Где мы на карте? Ага. В принципе, можно его пешком дойти. Ну, ладно, пофигу. Ну давай, покажи, что умеешь. А, он не догоняет. Ну ладно. Кристаллики.
Get away from there! Now! By the prophet's ass, 1 second later and I would have been scraping your remains off the floor. What in blazes are you doing here anyway? Let's put it this way. I know how to hide when I don't want to be seen. And concerning the explosion, you stepped right into a Kyranian dust crystal. Get a little too close and wait a little too long, and you'll have your ass blown around your ears by an explosion that would put any cannon to shame. Lashiri? Oh my. The fellow really isn't one for names, is he? I'm Lashari, but never mind that. At least it proves you're not lying. Anyhow, I hope you're not the backup I asked for. I was hoping for someone more, impressive. No offense. Is that so? Indeed. You have some uncontrolled magic inside you. And quite a lot of uncontrolled magic. Not bad. I've never felt anything like this before. Very well. If Constantine insists, I will perform the ritual on you. But it'll have to wait, since I'm up to my neck in this shit, as you've probably noticed. Short version or long version? Which do you prefer? Fine. I suppose you already know that that is me, my assistant, 2 Arcanists, and 4 Keepers, are here to do research on, well, on something, which is exactly what we've done these past weeks. But as I went upstairs to get something a couple hours ago, I suddenly heard screaming and the clanging of metal coming from downstairs. As I looked for cover, I saw these 2 shapes in red robes vanishing into the lower parts of the ruin. I have no idea who they are or why they're here, but to me, they look like mercenaries. Anyway, fact is, my esteemed Enderal colleagues and my assistant are still down there, together with our research, and I want them back. And before you ask, yes, you can help me. You'll have to, actually, if you want me to tame your magic. I wouldn't have a chance fighting the mercenaries by myself, but the 2 of us might be able to do it, provided you can defend yourself, which I'm quite sure you can. What do you say? Are you ready?
Ну,
Fine,
погнали.
then follow me. And keep your weapons ready. I think I just heard footsteps down there.
Оружие? Что такое оружие? Ой, вы какие-то недобрые ребятки. Ну, кстати, он их урабатывает не слабо так. Прям молодца. С этим можно работать.
Stabbed like a pig. Wait, hang on. What's this? I don't believe it. They're orders. My assistant, Sev. It seems he's the reason these fuckers managed to take us by surprise. Save it for Sev when I shove this staff up his ass and fire a thunderbolt.
Блин, чел, ну ты чего? Ну, что-то расселся. Ну он так мило сидит, блин. Блин, подвинь свою жирную тушу.
Shit, can you smell that? That's fire. So, these guys really are trying to destroy our research. We have to do something. You're adept at magic, right? Take this spell and use it to put out the fires. If I'm right, the mercenaries are trying to destroy the stone fragments, and we have to stop them. You take the lower part of the ruin. Try to save as many stones as you can. I'll take the upper part, and when it's all done, we'll meet here again. Oh, and one more thing. If you should find my assistant Sev down there, try to take him alive and bring him to me. I want to take care of him myself. Okay? Then let's get going.
Молодца. Кстати, довольно-таки хорошо терпит урон, я смотрю. И вроде как даже регенерирует потихоньку. Опа. А, это ничего, это просто штуки. Может, там что-то есть, где он стоял? Мне просто интересно. О! Мы этим потом обязательно поинтересуемся. Привет, парни. Ух ты ж, блин, Стив. Я что, смогу не сфидить как лох? Блин, я сфидел как лох. О, я же совсем забыл, я же могу делать прикольную хрень. Блин. Он меня уже видит. В таком случае братишку под ноги. И пожирание души. О, новый уровень. Давайте здоровье. Так, а где тут свет у нас? Угу. Короче, я посмотрел, и мне бы сейчас заинтересоваться классом фазмалиста. Воспоминания фазмалитов позволяют вам создавать призрачных компаньонов для вас из душ мертвых людей. Используя ваши навыки зачарования, фазмалистом можно... Ага. М-м. А, да, у меня же гангрена. Надо будет найти зелье. По идее, это даст мне некоторые фокусы за сочетание двух классов. Вот, целых 2 свитка, кайф.
Well, I'll be damned. That's what I call good timing. I take it you were successful? What about the fragments? Did you save them? Well, I guess that'll have to do. Thanks. What about Sev? Did you find him? Fuck. That little shit. I was hoping I could make him tell us who's behind all this. Well, whatever. No use crying over spilt milk, I guess. What's your name, anyway? Amidst all this, we didn't have time for formalities. You're pleased? Well, that's good to hear. I actually had the feeling that I was a little rough on you. Sorry for that, really. Sometimes I just have a short fuse. Anyway, let's talk about the reason you're here. For starters, tell me how you managed to get the old ranter to trust you. That doesn't happen very often. I've got time.
Тот момент, когда я каждому буквально персонажу рассказываю долгую историю, у меня происходит затемнение.
Uh-huh. So, you're saying that you learned all this, the magic, the swordplay, in such a short time? That's fascinating, to say the least. And these visions, if I understand correctly, you foresaw the death of the 2 apothecary? It does indeed. But hey, who am I to judge? Here you are, the mysterious stranger who appeared out of thin air and, without much fuss, took out an entire group of sellswords. And even better, now you tell me that these skills come from studying magic for only a couple of weeks, and that you can see the future. You certainly are full of shit. Not you, sorry. I mean, I just had a strange thought. But no, that would be crazy. Way too unlikely. Well, I'd like to speak freely, but I'm bound to my agreement with the Holy Order. However, I will tell Constantine and old Aranthiel about my theory. And you will probably have to be patient until the latter decides to put you in the picture. Sorry. But if my idea is correct, then we'll be in a position to really kick ass. Anyway, hold still for a moment. Ready? All right, let's do this. Don't worry, it'll just tickle a bit.
Что сейчас будет? А, блин.
Are you all right? That wasn't on purpose. Really. Oh my, you really do look terrible. I will make this right, I promise. I have no idea what just happened. The ritual isn't exactly harmless, but normally you shouldn't feel more than a weak tickle at most, regardless of how it goes down. But, maybe this has something to do with the strangeness of your aura. I already said this, but it's so different. It's hard to explain. Somehow complex and cold, maybe. But hey, I'm probably just out of practice. It worked, and that's what matters. Your fever will now settle down to an endurable level, and maybe even vanish if you're careful. And now, I suggest you return to Constantine. I will get the stones to safety in the meantime. You need anything else? If not, see you later. We're going to meet again. I can feel it. Well, put simply, they're supposed to protect us. But old Aranthiel will tell you more about it later. Take care.
Я просто хотел остаться на высоком количестве хп. Ну за что? Ну погнали. Хотя я мог, наверное, отсюда портануться. Костян, Костян, я тебе ща такое расскажу. Ты не поверишь.
This is holy ground, Outlander. You don't belong here.
Now, if it isn't the prodigy, well... Yes, I know. She's already told me everything. Good work, even though part of her report seemed to be a bit enthusiastic. But I'll leave the judgment to Aranthiel. He wants to talk to you anyway. Seems you've caught his interest. In the Emporium, the last building on the left side of the temple. Just tell the guard that Aranthiel has asked for you, and they will let you in. Ah yes, before I forget. My dame Lucy has left a token of gratitude for you. It's your choice. Do you want a book, an old map, or a bag of pennies? Very well. Now get a move on. I'm sure we'll talk again later.
Блин, очки обучения это всегда хорошо, особенно когда тебе сразу 2 штуки дадут. А, я их прям так получил. Я могу сейчас медитнуть и взять 2 навыка, да? Я правильно понял?
Now.
Так, а разве у меня не 2 очка знаний? А. Ну и ладно, ну и не больно-то и хотелось.
Yes.
Мне бы каких-нибудь еще призываемых существ накупить.
It is a suspicion, Tila. And to send an entire division across the sea because of a suspicion is madness.
We need to find out who sent the mercenaries. This Pegast said that they were after the Signet Stone, and if they succeed in getting hold of it next time, then the Black Guardian alone knows how to stop the cycle.
The cycle. Listening to you talk almost makes me forget that all this fuss here is merely based on some bad dreams you and your Neremese friends had.
The threat is real. Deny it as much as you like, but deep inside, you feel it as much as I do.
Tila, you're a commander, and a commander doesn't care about feelings, but about facts. You have made this mistake before, Tilor, back then in Kira.
Natara,
Oh, no.
the mission will happen. I'm sorry.
You have a visitor.
So, you are the prodigy everyone is talking about. Interesting. I am Teolor Aranthia, son of Lorius I and Grandmaster of the Order, and I'm honored to meet you. What is your name? Yes, and I will come straight to the point. You are here because I believe that you are special. Humanity faces a threat that needs to be stopped, and to achieve this, you are indispensable. Among other things, yes. I do not need to explain to you that the present situation on Vin is chaotic. The wars, the living dead, common people who are losing their minds, to name only the most obvious. What most people are not aware of is the connection between these events. You, however, have encountered it, as have I. I do. And I will explain everything to you. What it means, who we are, and what your part in all of this is. Come, follow me. Maybe you already know who I am. My entire life, I served the gods who ruled Vin, until their death 2 years ago. What you probably do not know is that the one responsible for their death is my son, Narazul Aranthial. He hated the Lightborn because he believed that they robbed mankind of their right to freedom, so he strived to overthrow them. He found followers, formed an army and declared war on them, and thus on me, a servant of the Lightborn as well. It all ended in a battle 30 years ago, which Narazul won. He killed every single survivor except for me, and locked me in a dungeon on Nerim. I still do not know why he spared me. There were circumstances favoring the development, but it's a long story which we won't discuss now. Good question. Because at the moment stability is the highest good, even more so considering what we are facing. The rulers of Kira and Kile both made the mistake to acknowledge the death of the gods to their people, and the civil wars that followed in their countries are evidence of the chaos that such a revelation entails. Enderal is the cradle of the Order of the Gods, the epitome of theocracy. It is unthinkable what would happen if we confirmed these rumors. I am sure you understand this. Maybe when all this is over that will change, but But for now, it is imperative that we deny all rumors of that kind. Yes, after more than 30 years, when the death of the gods made the magic around the prison disappear. And during my escape in the northern mountains of Nerim, I also had them for the first time. The dreams. I always saw the same glaring, terrible light. Heard screaming, and I felt like I was burning up from the inside. And above all, like a veil, there was the knowledge of imminence. At first, of course, I dismissed these dreams as the delusion of a man close to death. So I concentrated on making it through the mountains somehow. 2 days after my escape, I was completely exhausted, and I would have died if a former acolyte of my son had not found me. Yes, but he did not recognize me, and brought me to their headquarters instead, an old monastery in the mountains. The others were aware of my identity, but for whatever reason they did not kill me. Maybe because they thought that the death of the Lightborn had made me insignificant. I do not know. Still, even after my recovery, the dreams continued. At first, I doubted my sanity, but after some time I told the leader of the mages, Constantine, about them. And he said something that I'd never expected. I was not alone. He, as well as many others magically gifted on Vin, dreamed the same dreams. And the more we talked about the matter, the stronger our suspicion grew, which has now turned out to be the truth. The dreams, they come from the same place. They are a shared memory. A collective subconscious. Yes, I know that you can feel it too, and probably far more intense than we do. But like you back then, we were not able to make sense of the images. So we went looking for answers in the remains of the civilization that was before us, the Pyreans. 3 things. First, there were many civilizations before us and before the Pyreans. Maybe hundreds, maybe thousands. Second, the history of each civilization unfolded and still unfolds according to a pattern. They emerge, they blossom, and at some point, at the apex of their existence, they simply disappear without any trace. And third, everything that has happened in the past years, and which is still happening, indicates that this disappearance lies ahead of us. We are part of an eternal loop, a cycle, and our cycle is approaching its end.
Темка пошла.
I see why you would say that, and I felt the same way for a very long time too. But there came a moment when we simply could not deny it anymore. We began to study the history of the Pyreans more intensely, and the parallels were extraordinary. In its early days, the Pyrean Empire was split up by a disaster, just like Vin was split up by the Starfall after the reign of the Eterna. Also, the Pyreans had a ruling caste who declared themselves gods after the catastrophe. The 2 castes of the Sun Priest. They too ruled until they were overthrown. This overthrowing was followed by an outbreak of wars and chaos. And then, just like that, the Pyreans ceased to exist. They knew it was imminent, but they could not prevent it. They called this event the cleansing. They tried, but they failed. Who knows why? Maybe they found out too late, or maybe they were too weak. That is the question we need to find an answer to. The end was not violent, at least not in a sense as we know it. There was no natural disaster, no magical explosion. no plague. Even though there was war in the Pyrean Empire before its ruin, when the cleansing happened, it was as if all living beings simply fell down and died. It is ghastly. Well, this is the reason why we need your help. Not only episodes of history recur within every cycle, characters do as well. Yes, the Pyreans call them the emissaries. They emerge very shortly before the cleansing occurs, like a law of nature, an answer to the Red Madness. And I am one of them, as are you. While I take on the role of the ruler, you take on the role of the prophet. It's just a description. Call it what you will. But without doubt, it is the truth. Your story matches the descriptions perfectly. Yes. Former enemies or not, both sides have understood the magnitude of the threat. The magical knowledge of Narazul's former mages is vast, as is the power of the Holy Order. Even though not all of the Keepers agree, as you probably have already noted yourself. I do not know. Firespark the Mage has told me your story, and even though your fate is tragic, unlike me, you were insignificant before your change. So maybe everyone can become an emissary. We simply have not understood the pattern yet. No, as I already said, the emissaries simply appear at the beginning of the end, like pieces on a chessboard. We are determined by our skills. How and to what end we use them is our choice. On the one hand, your power. You carry the potential to master any skill within a fraction of the usual time needed. I assume you have already realized this. On the other hand, your ability to look into the past, and therefore into the future. Your visions are a window into the past. And as every cycle is based on the same events, it is a window into the future as well. You can feel the thread this world is woven with. And because of that, you can see things that have happened, and thus will happen again. This gift makes you indispensable to us, and it is why I want your help. That is the wrong question. The correct question is, what alternative do we have? To wait and die? Good. However, there's one more thing before the actual work begins. I want you to join our order, and to do so, you have to pass a test. A trial. It is the trial the novices have to pass in order to be exalted to the role of a keeper. Only the best students of the Squalor are allowed admission, and even though you have not been a novice, I want you to take it too. At this very moment, 2 novices are on their way to the testing grounds. I have informed them about your arrival. I have only a slight acquaintance with them. However, I know that they are both very talented and have been working hard toward the test. But see them for yourself. At the border to the Heartland, near the Whisper Wood, they will be waiting for you there. Take the Myret, talk to Signet Master Bartar, and hand him this package. And then follow his orders. Ah, one more thing. It might be self-evident, but keep your knowledge about the death of the Lightborn to yourself. I do not believe you can do any real harm, but in the worst case, path-abiding people will consider you a heretic. After the cycle has been stopped, we will deliberate upon how we deal with the matter. If and how we tell our people about it. But not now, that is for sure. No, leave. The sooner we can dispense with this formality, the better.
Это мы, короче, обсуждаем, как сообщить детям, что Деда Мороза нет. Ну а на этом, я думаю, мы на сегодня закончим. Если вы здесь впервые, вы можете подписаться на канал, поставить лайк, нажать на колокольчик. А меня зовут Веритас. Всем до новых встреч. Всем пока-пока-пока.